is crowded and I'm backed against the wall. I'm watching the complete and quiet ruin of the fall. I see you in the center of the highly lit estate, completely unaffected by the gravity of fate. You're talking to a stranger and your eyes completely shine, a beautifully constructed proof that you were never mine. I'm frozen in the architecture of my own despair, while you are breathing effortlessly in the heavy air. And I am standing in the shadows, counting his smiles, a devastating calculus that stretches out for miles. I tally every single time your heavy features lift, a highly toxic audit of a violently permanent shift. You radiate a heavy warmth that I am violently denied, a terrifying visual of how the love has died. I'm bleeding out completely in the margins of the file, destroyed by the arithmetic of counting his smile. I remember when the corners of your beautifully drawn face would only elevate when I was standing in the space. I used to be the highly calculated reason for the light, but now you burn completely brilliantly without me in the night. Every time you laugh, it is a heavy driven nail, a terrifying metric where I absolutely fail. I try to look away from the geometry of your joy, but I'm captivated by the very thing you used to destroy. You can try to shut the heavy out, you can try to leave the room, you can try to find a highly isolated quiet tune, but an obsessive observation is a violently sharp disease. When the happiness of someone else brings you to your heavy knees. And I am standing in the shadows, counting his smiles, a devastating calculus that stretches out for miles. I tally every single time your heavy features lift, a highly toxic audit of a violently permanent shift. You radiate a heavy warmth that I am violently denied, a terrifying visual of how the love has died. I'm bleeding out completely in the margins of the file, destroyed by the arithmetic of counting his smile, counting his smiles. The math completely breaks. You look across the room, the light hits your face perfectly. I stop keeping track, walking out the door. The heavy room is swallowed by a highly artificial glow. I'm sitting on the mattress, watching all the hours completely slow. I hold hold the heavy glass right in the center of my hand, a beautifully constructed tether I completely understand. I'm staring at the highly calculated pixels in the dark, just begging for a violently sudden, heavy digital spark. But the screen is completely frozen in a devastating state, and I am absolutely crushed beneath the heavy, quiet weight. And I'm suffocating here, waiting for his heavy text, a highly toxic purgatory, wondering what completely happens next. The silence is a violently loud and devastating sound that forces the entire architecture violently to the ground. I'm paralyzed completely by a heavily glowing screen, trapped inside a terrifying, beautifully empty scene. He holds the absolute power in a highly careless flex, while I am bleeding out, completely waiting for his text. I scroll through all the heavy history we beautifully typed out to navigate the terrifying geometry of my heavy doubt. I see the 3 gray dots violently appear and then retreat, a highly calculated method for orchestrating my defeat. You keep me on a highly localized and heavily frayed string, deciding if my heavy heart is worth a single digital ping. The battery is dying and the heavy temperature drops, a devastating realization. When the waiting finally stops, you can try to blame the heavy signal, try to blame the satellite. You can try to say the heavy network completely failed you in the night, but an empty notification is a violently heavy choice, when the absolute silence is the true sound of your heavy voice. And I'm suffocating here, waiting for his heavy text, a highly toxic purgatory, wondering what completely happens next. The silence is a violently loud and devastating sound that forces the entire architecture violently to the ground. I'm paralyzed completely by a heavily glowing screen, trapped inside a terrifying, beautifully empty scene. He holds the absolute power in a highly careless flex, while I am bleeding out, completely waiting for his text. Waiting for his text, just a heavy piece of glass. The battery completely dies, the screen goes violently black. I drop it on the hardwood floor, no more glowing. The warning signs were painted right across my open chest, a highly volatile machine you put to the ultimate test. I handed you the copper wires, completely stripped and bare, and trusted you to navigate the heavy current waiting there. You promised you could handle all the blinding raw white light, a beautifully dangerous surge we generated in the night. I let you bypass every single fuse I built just to survive. Believing your connection was what kept my soul alive. But you short-circuited the rhythm of my high-voltage heart and tore the delicate machinery completely right apart. You held the live wire just to see how brightly I would burn, then dropped me in the water with a violently sudden turn. I'm sparking on the concrete in a devastating flash, watching all my brilliant energy reduced to heavy ash. I'm completely overloaded by a charge I cannot shed, destroyed by the high voltage of the love you left for dead. I remember how the static used to dance across your skin, a highly magnetic pull, exactly where the damage would begin. You loved the massive power, but you hated the demand of holding something fatal in the center of your hand. You took the heavy bolt of lightning, used it for a thrill, then pulled the master switch and left my engine completely still. Now every freight connection is exposed to the freezing rain, a terrifying network of a highly concentrated pain. You can try to tape the broken lines, you can try to ground the shock, you can try to turn the power down and permanently lock. But an electrical surrender is a violently total blackout when the circuit is destroyed by your devastating doubt. But you short-circuited the rhythm of my high-voltage heart and tore the delicate machinery completely right apart. You held the live wire just to see how brightly I would burn, then dropped me in the water with a violently sudden turn. I'm sparking on the concrete in a devastating flash, watching all my brilliant energy reduced to heavy ash. I'm completely overloaded by a charge I cannot shed, destroyed by the high voltage of the love you left for dead. High voltage heart, sparks dying out on the floor. The main grid completely fails, the heavy wires snap, fading into the dark. Power off. The heavy thread was spun completely out of atmosphere, a beautifully calculated way to make the doubt disappear. You promised me a heavy fabric woven out of blue, a highly cinematic garment proving you were true. I stood entirely exposed upon the freezing open ground while you wrapped the heavy atmosphere completely protected by the gravity of light, completely unaware of the approaching heavy night. And now I'm freezing in a devastating dress made of sky, a beautifully constructed, violently transparent lie. You dressed me in the infinite, but infinite is cold. A terrifying narrative that I was beautifully sold. When the heavy winter broke and the temperature completely dropped, the architecture of the heaven violently just stopped. I'm shivering completely in the middle of the dark, left naked by the illusion of your heavy, vital spark. I remember how the heavy fabric shifted into gray, a completely devastated, highly toxic, slow decay. The clouds began to violently unravel at the seam, destroying the entire architecture of the dream. The heavy rain began to fall right through the empty thread, a highly localized disaster pouring on my head. You cannot sew a heavy garment out of empty air. And now I'm left to navigate this absolute despair. You can try to catch the heavy wind, you can try to stitch the cloud, you can try to use the atmosphere to make a heavy shroud. But an elemental promise is a violently fragile shield. When the completely freezing truth of the betrayal is revealed. And now I'm freezing in a devastating dress made of sky, a beautifully constructed, violently transparent lie. You dressed me in the infinite, but infinite is cold. A terrifying narrative that I was beautifully sold. When the heavy winter broke and the temperature completely dropped, the architecture of the heaven violently just stopped. I'm shivering completely in the middle of the dark, left naked by the illusion of your heavy, vital spark. A dress made of sky, nothing but thin air. The heavy clouds dissolve, completely freezing to the bone. Looking up at the dark, nothing to wear. The freezing morning light is cutting through the glass. I'm sitting on the hardwood, watching all the hours pass. I saw you walking downtown just a couple nights ago. You look completely untouched by the devastating blow. You wore that navy jacket with the heavy silver chain, and a smile that was highly calculated, entirely free of pain. You look so complete, completely solid, entirely defined, while I'm just the geometry you casually left behind. And now he wears my heart He buttons it up tightly against the heavy winter wind, oblivious to where the architecture of my soul begin. He walks around so warm while I am frozen to the bone, decorated by a devotion that is permanently mine alone. It's a highly calculated, devastating visual art, because looking at him, everybody knows he wears my heart. I remember how the rhythm used to beat inside my chest, a highly concentrated vibration before you put it to the test. I gave you absolute permission to consume the whole supply. Now you just put it on and never even wonder why. You're adorned by the heavy fabric of the promises I made, while I am just a hollowed out, violently quiet cascade. You utilize my center just to make yourself appear like a better man than you ever were before I brought you here. You can try to wash the heavy wool, you can try to scrub the stain, you can try to use the distance just to sanitize the pain, but the threads are woven tightly and the pattern cannot start when the only warmth you ever had was the geometry of my heart. And now he wears my heart completely on the outside, a beautiful accessory he utilizes with absolute pride. He buttons it up tightly against the heavy winter wind, oblivious to where the architecture of my soul begin. He walks around so warm while I am frozen to the bone, decorated by a devotion that is permanently mine alone. It's a highly calculated, devastating visual art, because looking at him, everybody knows he wears my heart. He wears my heart. A beautiful, empty decoration. Button up the coat, let the cold wind blow. Nothing left inside, just a phantom beat. The heavy silence settles on the freezing empty street. I let you in to find a highly calculated heat. You struck a heavy match, completely hidden in the dark, and laid a devastating claim upon my vital spark. I watched the architecture of my logic violently ignite, consumed by the absolute terror of the heavy night. I thought the beautiful glow would keep my spirit warm, completely unaware I was standing in a firestorm. And I am turning into ash inside this midnight heavy orange painted every wall, a beautifully constructed, absolute and fatal fall. But a flame born in the dark is never meant to last. It consumes the heavy oxygen completely, way too fast. You watch the heavy timber of my open heart decay and violently retreated just before the break of day. You stole the heavy warmth and left me entirely alone, a freezing heavy skeleton of absolutely blackened bone. You can try to sift the heavy ashes, try to find a spark. You can try to use the memory to navigate the dark, but an elemental passion is a violently cruel liar when it leaves you completely frozen after the midnight fire. And I am turning into ash inside this midnight fire, a completely devastating, violently dark pyre. You burn the heavy promises right down to the floor and left a terrifying ruin right behind the door. I traded all my safety for a highly toxic flame, and now the heavy smoke is suffocating my own name. I'm staring at the crater in the center of the room, destroyed by the midnight fire in a violently sudden doom. Midnight fire, nothing but the heavy smoke. The embers completely die. The temperature violently drops in the dark again, freezing. The heavy syllables are resting right upon my tongue, a highly calculated breath that stayed inside my lung. I felt the architecture of the fatal moment slip and bit the heavy confession violently from my lip. You stood completely quiet by the freezing open door, waiting for a heavy truth I couldn't give you anymore. I held the absolute salvation entirely in my chest and let the heavy silence put the heavy love to rest. And I am suffocating from almost saying it, a completely devastating, violently quiet hit. I kept the heavy truth completely locked behind the glass and watched the only architecture of my future pass. The ghost of what I didn't say is a violently sharp disease, bringing my completely shattered body to its knees. I'm bleeding out entirely from the cowardice I chose, destroyed by the heavy door that I allowed to close. I remember how the heavy air completely froze in place stared at the geometry of your departing face. A single heavy word would be enough to make you stay. But I completely let the heavy moment violently decay. I swallowed all the vowels and the consonants of grace, and left a terrified, completely barren, empty space. Now the heavy phantom of the sentence haunts my throat, a highly toxic poison in the heavy silence that I wrote. You can try to scream the heavy truth into the empty night. You can try to use the heavy echoes just to make it right. But an unspoken confession is a permanently heavy ghost, when the words you never gave them were the ones they needed most. And I am suffocating from almost saying it, a completely devastating, violently quiet hit. I kept the heavy truth completely locked behind the glass, and watched the only architecture of my future past. The ghost of what I didn't say is a violently sharp disease, bringing my completely shattered body to its knees. I'm bleeding out entirely from the cowardice I chose, destroyed by the heavy door that I allowed to close. Almost saying it, caught inside my throat. The heavy door clicks shut, the words completely die. Too late to speak alone. The heavy architecture of my balance is collapsing to the floor. I'm bracing with my fingernails against the cellar door. You took the heavy gravity when you decided not to stay, and left me on the ceiling, watching everything decay. The temperature's dropping and the atmosphere is thin, completely unaware of where the gravity should begin. I'm suspended here completely in a violently blank void, destroyed by the stability that you have beautifully employed. And I'm paralyzed completely by a heavy fear of falling, a terrified silence and a devastating calling. The memory of the impact is a violently sharp disease, bringing my completely shattered body to its knees. I'm standing on the precipice of everything we made, watching all the architectural security violently fade. Don't breathe, don't move, just let the panic start. Destroyed by the vertigo of my high voltage heart. I remember how the gravity used to feel so highly secure. I thought the heavy magnetism was completely, absolutely pure. We built the whole foundation on a terrifying slope, and financed all yours with a highly localized hope. But you violently yanked the blueprint right out from underneath. Now every breath I take is held between my clenched white teeth. I'm staring at the abyss that opened in the night, left entirely unprotected from the crushing heavy light. You can try to take the cracks, try to catch the heavy debris. You can try to use the logic just to force yourself to see, but a total loss of gravity is a violently cruel liar, when the only direction left for you is down into the fire. And I'm paralyzed completely by a heavy fear of falling, a terrifying silence and a devastating calling. The memory of the impact is a violently sharp disease, bringing my completely shattered body to its knees. I'm standing on the precipice of everything we made, watching all the architectural security violently fade. Don't breathe, don't move, just let the panic start. Destroyed by the vertigo of my high voltage heart. I fear falling, the heavy, empty space, tipping slightly. Hold your breath. The ground rushes up. I never hit. The heavy curtains fall across the freezing bedroom glass. I'm waiting for the agonizing quiet night to pass. You used to whisper softly in the center of my ear. Just close your heavy eyes and make the terror disappear. Now the very action is a beautifully cruel trap, a terrifying detour on a violently broken map. I pull the heavy sheets completely up above my chest, but shutting out the world won't bring a single ounce of rest. Because when I close my eyes, you're the only thing I see. A beautifully devastating phantom memory. The back of my eyelids is a terrifying scream, projecting every heavy, broken, violently sad scene. I'm trapped inside the cinematic ruin of the past, a highly calculated, haunting guarantee to last. I try to keep them open just to navigate the dark, because when I close my eyes, I feel the heavy, burning spark. I remember how the darkness used to be a safe retreat, a highly concentrated quiet where our heavy souls could meet. But you corrupted every single shadow in the room and turned my safe haven into an absolute tomb. I see the exact geometry of your completely missing face, a terrifying apparition filling up the empty space. devastating silent show. You can try to use the heavy medicine to force a quiet sleep. You can try to build a fortress where the memories cannot creep. But an optical illusion is a permanently heavy ghost. When the image that you run from is the one you love the most. Because when I close my eyes, you're the only thing I see. A beautifully devastating phantom memory. The back of my eyelids is a terrifying screen, projecting every heavy, broken, violently sad scene. I'm trapped inside the cinematic ruin of the past, a highly calculated, haunting, guaranteed to last. I try to keep them open just to navigate the dark. Because when I close my eyes, I feel the heavy, burning spark. Close your eyes, don't look at the ghost. The heavy lids fall down, the projection completely starts. You are standing right there, can't look away. The heavy room is quiet and the temperature is low. I'm staring at my fingers in the artificial glow. I memorize the architecture of the way your fingers felt, a highly calculated warmth that made my freezing spirit melt. You used to pull me closely to the center of your chest, a beautifully heavy place where I could finally rest. But the tactile memory is a violently sharp disease, bringing my completely shattered body to its knees. And now the hands that hold me are entirely made of air, a completely devastating cinematic of despair. I feel the heavy phantom of your grip upon my spine, a beautifully constructed lie that you were ever mine. You built a heavy fortress just to violently let go, and left me completely isolated in the heavy snow. I'm drowning in the memory of the warmth I couldn't keep, while the hands that hold me now are just a shadow in my sleep. I remember how you traced the heavy lines upon my palm, a highly localized illusion of a perfectly safe calm. But your grip was just a weapon that you beautifully disguised, a terrifying betrayal that I never recognized. You took the exact fingers that would wipe away my tear, and used them just to push me to the edge of all my fear. The heavy touch I worshipped is the reason that I fall, because the hands that hold me never actually held me at all. wash the heavy skin. You can try to scrub the bone. You can try to erase the tactile history we've known. But muscle memory is a permanently heavy ghost when the hands that let you drop are the ones you trusted most. And now the hands that hold me are entirely made of that. A completely devastated cinematic of despair. I feel the heavy phantom of your grip upon my spine. A beautifully constructed lie that you were ever mine. You built a heavy fortress just to violently let go, and left me completely isolated in the heavy stone. I'm drowning in the memory of the warmth I couldn't keep, while the hands that hold me now are just a shadow in my sleep. The hands that hold me, nothing but the cold. I reach out in the dark, my fingers close on nothing. The grip completely fails, falling down. The heavy velvet box is sitting open on the floor. I'm looking at the counterfeit I cannot worship anymore. I paid the absolute highest price for the gravity of your gleam, a beautifully constructed, highly artificial dream. You caught the heavy light so perfectly inside the dark, and engineered a highly calculated, devastating spark. I gave you all my genuine devotion and my trust, just to find the heavy silver was corroding into dust. And now I'm bleeding from the edges of a beautiful fate, a completely devastating, violently cold mistake. You were the architecture of a perfectly cut stone, but on the inside you were hollow, leaving me entirely alone. I traded in my heavy truth for a highly polished lie, and financed the illusion just to watch the magic die. I'm staring at the glass that I mistook for something grand, destroyed by the beautiful fake that shattered in my hand. I remember how the appraisal felt so incredibly secure. I thought the heavy chemistry between us was completely pure, but you were just a master of the highly toxic art, a forgery designed to steal the center of my heart. You perfectly mimic the heavy warmth of real gold, a terrifying narrative that I was violently sold. Now the heavy plating is peeling right off of the frame, exposing the completely cheap reality of your name. You can try to catch the heavy light, you can try to shine the glass, you can try to use the heavy polish just to make the moment pass. But a counterfeit emotion will violently break the scale in the completely heavy truth exposes every single detail. And now I'm bleeding from the edges of a beautiful fate, a completely devastating, violently cold mistake. You are the architecture of a perfectly cut stone, but on the inside you were hollow, leaving me entirely alone. I traded in my heavy truth for a highly polished lie, and financed the illusion just to watch the magic die. I'm staring at the glass that I mistook for something grand, destroyed by the beautiful fake that shattered in my hand. A beautiful fake, just a heavy piece of glass. The illusion violently shatters. The light completely fades. Sweep it off the table. Worthless. The heavy scent of flowers fills the freezing empty room. A beautifully calculated, violently soft tune. You hummed a heavy melody to put my soul to sleep. A terrifying promise that you didn't plan to keep. I breathe the heavy fragrance of the purple and the gray, completely unaware that you were walking right away. You used the quiet comfort as a highly toxic knife, and slowly drained the architecture of my heavy life. And I am suffocating in this lavender lullaby, a beautifully devastating, quiet way to die. You wove the heavy petals just to paralyze my chest and force the completely heavy rhythm to a final rest. You masked the violent ending with a beautifully sweet perfume, inside my safe haven into an absolute tomb. I'm completely trapped inside, asleep I can't defy, destroyed by the poison of your lavender lullaby. I remember how the heavy silence felt so incredibly secure. I thought the heavy chemistry between us was completely pure, but the soothing heavy notes were just a violently dark deceit, a completely calculated way to orchestrate defeat. You stroked my heavy hair and told me everything was fine, while severing the heavy, vital, beautifully drawn line. He sang the heavy words completely beautifully devastating, quiet way to die. You wove the heavy petals just to paralyze my chest and force the completely heavy rhythm to a final rest. You masked the violent ending with a beautifully sweet perfume and turned my safe haven into an absolute tomb. I'm completely trapped inside, asleep I can't defy, destroyed by the poison of your lavender lullaby. Lavender lullaby, a violently quiet sleep. The heavy scent remains, eyes completely closed, never waking up. The heavy clock is ticking like a hammer in the hall. I'm tracing out the shadows, violently shifting on the wall. I lie entirely frozen on my completely empty side, with nowhere in this architecture left for me to hide. You took the heavy sunlight when you walked right out the door and left me on the mattress, staring blindly from the floor. I used to close my heavy eyes and see your perfect face, but now the pitch black is entirely suffocating the space. And now I'm looking up at the dark, completely paralyzed, a beautifully devastating ruin I never realized. The ceiling is a heavy ocean made of empty space, a terrifying mirror of your violently absent grace. I searched the heavy blackness for a single vital spark, but the atmosphere is completely barren, violently stark. I'm drowning in the quiet, completely torn apart, just lying on the hardwood, looking up at the dark. I remember how we used to chart the heavy constellations, a highly calculated map of all our future destinations. We turned the dark into a beautifully decorated sky, a highly cinematic canvas where our heavy dreams could fly. But you violently pulled the stars completely from the ceiling and left me in the absolute abyss of what I'm feeling. The heavy night is pressing down upon my shattered chest, a violently quiet graveyard where my heavy soul is pressed. You can try to turn the heavy lamp on, try to strike a light. You can try to use a heavy screen to navigate the night, but an artificial glow will never violently replace the heavy missing illumination of your entirely vanished face. And now I'm looking up at the dark, completely paralyzed, looking up at the dark. Looking up at the dark. The heavy void pressing down. The sun refuses to rise. The shadows stay completely still. Just close your eyes. It's still black. Heavy silence sits completely still between us two. I'm staring at the architecture of the space, withdrawing you. We're standing in the center of the completely barren floor. A highly calculated distance that wasn't there before. I felt your heavy spirit violently begin to fade, long before the physical departure that you made. Now we're looking at the ruin, completely stripped of our defense, trying to assign the blame for this absolute silence. But does it really matter who completely walked away, when the heavy toxic ruin is exactly where we stay? You left the physical room, but I had left the heavy heart. A beautifully devastating way to tear this right apart. We severed all the heavy ties, completely in the dark, and violently extinguished every single vital spark. Now I'm bleeding out entirely on this highly broken ground, destroyed by who walked away without a single heavy sound. I remember when the heavy geometry completely shifted, a terrifying current where our heavy anchor drifted. You stopped reaching for my heavy hand across the freezing bed, and I completely swallowed all the words I should have said. A highly localized disaster that we beautifully ignored, until the heavy damage could not ever be restored. We built a heavy wall out of the absolute decay, so neither one would have to be the first to walk away. You can try to point the heavy finger, try to draw the line. You can try to say the heavy fatal failure was all mine, but an emotional desertion is a violently equal ghost. And the distance that you navigate is what destroys you most. But does it really matter who completely walked away, when the heavy toxic ruin is exactly where we stay? You left the physical room, but I had left the heavy heart. A beautifully devastating way to tear this right apart. We severed all the heavy ties, completely in the dark, and violently extinguished every single vital spark. Now I'm bleeding out entirely on this highly broken ground, destroyed by who walked away without a single heavy both completely dead. The heavy door stands open. The cold wind completely blows in. No one left to fight, just an empty space. The heavy world is spinning on a violently tilted axis. I'm sitting in the freezing dark, staring at the ashes. You were the absolute true north upon my heavy map, the one secure location in this terrifying trap. I built the architecture of my life around your gravity, to keep my heavy mind from falling into the depravity. You were the only solid ground beneath my heavy feet, a beautifully calculated, absolute concrete. But now my beautiful constant has violently walked away, leaving me to navigate this devastating gray. You were the heavy anchor when the water started rising, a highly calculated safety. I am agonizing, I'm terrified of moving, terrified of standing still, because my beautiful constant is a heavy, empty void I cannot fill. I'm staring at the ceiling, waiting for the room to spin, destroyed by the variable where you used to begin. I wrote the heavy math across the center of my chest, believing that the formula was put to the absolute test. I memorized the rhythm of your highly steady heart, to keep my heavy, anxious soul from tearing right apart. But a sudden shifting tectonic plate completely broke the line and proved that your devoted heavy promise wasn't mine. You took the certainty we had and turned it into dust, a completely devastating, highly toxic breach of trust. You can try to rewrite all the heavy numbers on the board, you can try to use the distance just to sever the heavy cord, but an equation completely shatters when the solid numbers fade, and the constant was a heavy lie that beautifully played. But now my beautiful constant has violently walked away, leaving me to navigate this devastating gray. You were the heavy anchor when the water started rising, a highly calculated safety. I am agonizing, I'm terrified of moving, terrified of standing still, because my beautiful constant is a heavy, empty void I cannot fill. I'm staring at the ceiling, waiting for the room to spin, destroyed by the variable where you used to begin. My beautiful constant, the math is completely broken. The heavy compass spins, the absolute true north is gone, falling through the dark, nothing left to hold. The heavy kettle whistles in the freezing morning light. I'm standing in the kitchen, navigating through the night. I pull the heavy porcelain completely from the shelf. A highly calculated motion I am doing by myself. I watch the heavy water violently begin to pour, staring at the empty chair upon the hardwood floor. You used to stand beside me while the heavy steam would rise, a beautifully constructed comfort looking in my eyes. And you used to be the honey in my heavy morning tea, a completely golden, devastating, quiet remedy. You made the bitter world a beautifully soft and heavy place, and dissolved all of the panic with the warmth of your embrace. But now the heavy amber is a violently toxic stain, a terrifying trigger for the architecture of my pain. I'm staring at the heavy cup, completely unable to breathe, destroyed by the sweet ritual you forced me to bequeath. I take the heavy silver spoon and stir the heavy dark, waiting for the chemistry to bring back your vital spark. But the sweetness hits my heavy tongue and turns completely cold, a terrifying narrative of how the love was sold. I cannot drink the heavy liquid, I cannot pour it out. I'm paralyzed completely by a highly toxic doubt. The comfort that you gave me is a violently sharp disease, bringing my completely shattered body to its knees. You can try to change the heavy leaves, you can try to drink it black, you can try to use the boiling heat to force the memory back. But domestic devastation is a permanently heavy ghost. When the quiet morning ritual is what you miss the most. And you used to be the honey in my heavy morning tea, a completely golden, devastating, quiet remedy. You made the bitter world a beautifully soft and heavy place, and dissolved all of the panic with the warmth of your embrace. But now the heavy amber is a violently toxic stain, a terrifying trigger for the architecture of my pain. I'm staring at the heavy cup, completely unable to breathe, destroyed by the sweet ritual you forced me to bequeath. Honey in my tea, turning entirely bitter. The heavy cup goes cold, leave it completely on the counter. Walk out of the kitchen, a ruined morning. Heavy silence settles right across the kitchen space. I'm staring at the highly calculated sorrow on your face. form the heavy syllables completely out of air. A beautifully constructed lie, pretending that you care. You hand me a confession wrapped in heavy golden thread, but the architecture of the words is violently, completely dead. I used to take your heavy sorrow as an absolute decree, but now I see the completely hollow space you offer me. And I am drowning in the echo of these empty apologies, a devastating heavy wind that brings me to my knees. You made a counterfeit emotion every time you break the trust, and watch the architecture of my soul turn violently to dust. You think the heavy word is enough to wipe the slate, but a hollow promise cannot hold a completely heavy weight. I'm staring at the ruin of the history we made, destroyed by the empty apologies that you have beautifully played. I remember when sorry carried an absolute heavy cost, a highly localized attempt to find the love we lost. But repetition violently erodes the sharpest knife, and you made a heavy habit out of breaking up my life. You package up the heavy guilt inside a fragile shell, a terrifying narrative I know completely well. I open up the heavy box to find the truth inside, and find a completely barren room where your heavy conscience dies. You can try to dress the heavy words in a beautifully sad disguise. You can try to use the heavy tears completely falling from your eyes, but a verbal restitution is a violently empty check when you refuse to stand in the ruin of the heavy broken wreck. And I am drowning in the echo of these empty apologies, a devastating heavy wind that brings me to my knees. You made a counterfeit emotion every time you break the trust, and watch the architecture of my soul turn violently to dust. You think the heavy word is enough to wipe the slate, but a hollow promise cannot hold a completely heavy weight. I'm staring at the ruin of the history we made, destroyed by the empty apologies that you have beautifully played. Empty apologies just breathe upon the glass. The heavy words hit the floor, sweep them completely away. I stop listening. The heavy suitcase sits completely silent by the door. You're standing on the architecture of the hardwood floor. You're waiting for the heavy water violently to break, a beautifully calculated absolute mistake. You wanna see the devastation falling from my face, to validate the ruin in this highly toxic space. But the reservoir's completely empty, freezing to the bone, and my heavily shattered heart has turned completely into stone. And these are the heavy tears I absolutely won't cry. A beautifully devastating, violently dry goodbye. I spent my entire ocean navigating through your dark, and left a highly calculated, absolutely barren mark. You thought the heavy gravity would finally pull me down, but I refuse to let your heavy memory make me drown. I'm staring at your shadow with a completely empty eye, suffocating in the heavy tears. I absolutely won't cry. I remember how I used to flood the heavy cotton sheets, a terrifying rhythm where the devastation meets. I financed your apologies with violently heavy rain, a highly localized disaster of my absolute pain. But you consume the heavy water, every single drop, until the architecture of my sorrow had to finally stop. You're begging for the heavy storm to finally reappear, but the atmosphere is completely broken, violently clear. You can try to twist the heavy knife, you can try to force the break, you can try to use the history to see how much I shake. But an emotional drought is a permanently heavy shield when the completely barren soil of the heart refuses to yield. And these are the heavy tears I absolutely won't cry. A beautifully devastating, violently dry goodbye. I spent my entire ocean navigating through your dark, and left a highly calculated, absolutely barren mark. You thought the heavy gravity would finally pull me down, but I refuse to let your heavy memory make me drown. I'm staring at your shadow with a completely empty eye, suffocating in the heavy tears. I absolutely won't cry. The tears I won't cry, completely dried up. The heavy well is empty, not a single drop left. Watch you walk away, dry eyes. The heavy stained glass window throws a shadow on the floor. I remember kneeling down right behind the heavy door. I asked the quiet universe to send a heavy grace, and then I saw the architecture of your perfect face. You walked right down the aisle looking like a holy light, a beautifully calculated end to all my heavy night. I took your heavy hands and thought my spirit had been saved, completely unaware of the destruction that was paved. And now I'm bleeding from the heavy men I prayed for, a completely devastating, highly toxic holy war. I begged the open sky to send an angel to my bed, but you brought a violently dark apocalypse instead. You wore a heavy halo made of counterfeit cold gold, a beautifully terrifying story I was sold. I'm staring at the altar where my absolute hope was laid, destroyed by the answer to the heavy prayer I made. I remember how you spoke with such a highly sacred calm, a perfectly constructed, absolutely heavy song. But the scripture that you promised was a beautifully written lie, a highly calculated way to watch my spirit die. You took my absolute devotion, turned it into heavy dust, and burned down the cathedral of my beautifully blind trust. The heavy bells are ringing, but the sanctuary is bare, because you were a punishment disguised as a heavy prayer. You can try to light the heavy candle, try to cleanse the stain. You can try to use the holy water just to wash the pain, but an answered prayer is permanently etched into the stone. When the Savior that you ask for leaves you freezing and alone. And now I'm bleeding from the heavy man I prayed for, a completely devastating, highly toxic holy war. I begged the open sky to send an angel to my bed, but you brought a violently dark apocalypse instead. You wore a heavy halo made of counterfeit cold gold, a beautifully terrifying story I was sold. I'm staring at the altar where my absolute hope was laid, destroyed by the answer to the heavy prayer I made. The man I prayed for, violently quiet, amen. The heavy candle burns out, the smoke rises to the ceiling. I get up from my knees, never asking again. The heavy winter night was pressing hard against the glass. I watched the freezing shadows of my isolation pass. You walked into the center of my completely dark estate, a beautifully glowing and highly dangerous fate. I reach my heavy hands out to the warmth of your embrace, ignoring all the smoke that started filling up the space. would keep me safe entirely from the cold. A violently brilliant lie that I was beautifully told. And I gave my completely open soul to a boy like fire, a beautifully devastating, highly toxic pyre. You burn the heavy architecture right down to the ground, and turn my safe haven into an absolute ash mound. I traded all my oxygen to keep your heavy flame, but you consumed the very timber that held up my name. I'm standing in the ruins, completely stripped of my desire, destroyed by the violent beauty of a boy like fire. I remember how the highly saturated orange glow completely melted all the heavy, suffocating snow. But a heavy spark can violently escape the safest hearth and leave a highly localized destruction in its path. You started out a heavy ember, keeping me alive, then turned into a heavy blaze I couldn't survive. You took the heavy oxygen completely from my chest and left a blackened crater where my heavy heart would rest. You can try to contain the heavy heat within a ring of stone. You can try to feed it heavy wood so you are not alone, but an elemental force will violently betray the trust and leave you completely suffocating in the heavy dust. And I gave my completely open soul to a boy like fire, a beautifully devastating, highly toxic pyre. You burn the heavy architecture right down to the ground and turn my safe haven into an absolute ash mound. I traded all my oxygen to keep your heavy flame, but you consumed the very timber that held up my name. I'm standing in the ruins, completely stripped of my desire, destroyed by the violent beauty of a boy like fire, a boy like fire. Nothing but the ash. The smoke completely clears, the temperature violently drops. Just charred wood